everyone, it's Stephanie Kennedy from Panther Cheer Athletics. I'm one of the owners here along with my partner Dawn Silver, and every week we post a blog post onto our website that we think the parents of athletes in our program and parents in our community will find useful information for them. So today I am going to talk to you about the top 5 things that we think parents must be aware of if they see their children practicing their skills at home. That could be jumping on the trampoline, it could be doing bridges off of the couch, it could be doing forward rolls in the playroom. When you see your child practicing at home, there's 5 things that you have to keep in mind. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. So let me just start off by saying that we love that so many of our athletes are practicing at home and passionate and keen about their cheer and their trampoline and their tumbling skills that they're learning. We love that they want to spend every waking moment doing their skills, being upside down, doing rolls and cartwheels and flipping off the couch and around on their backyard trampolines. That makes us very excited. We want kids to be active, we want them to have fun moving their bodies, and we want all of the children to be healthy and happy. So, however, what it is important is that these athletes understand that while they're having fun practicing their skills, we really need to be careful about how they're practicing the skills. It's obvious that all these athletes understand how important it is to spend time at home and outside the gym honing their skills, especially our higher level athletes. I think all of them would agree that the hours that they spend in the gym when you're trying to reach your next goal, that's not enough time, that it does take outside practice. And it takes outside practice to work on their flexibility, to work on their strength, to work on their overall fitness. And so that excites us that kids want to go and do that. However, if we are honest, because they are kids after all, do you think that the kids, when they're at home, your children, when they're practicing and playing around, that they're more interested in having fun, or that they're actually truly interested in working on perfecting their technique and remembering the tips and tricks that their coaches have stressed that they should be working on when they're outside the gym and inside the gym? So today, I am going to share with you 5 really important things that we think you should keep in mind when you see your child doing home practice. Because remember, you've invested really heavily in their classes here at Panther Cheer. And I'm sure that you want to make sure that they're learning their skills safely and correctly. And the coaches, you have to understand, only want the best for the athletes. They want to make sure that they're learning those skills safely and correctly. And we don't want them to unintentionally be learning any bad habits at home when they're working on these skills. And we definitely don't want them to hurt themselves at home, because that's no fun for any of us. We don't get to see them anymore because they're home injured, and you have to tend to an injured child at home. And they're not happy because they don't get to move around. So it's really important that you keep in mind 5 things. So number 1, it is important to remember when you see your children at home to stress to them as their parent, as the adult, that it's not important how many they do. That if they're doing cartwheels, or doing backflip on the trampoline, that it's not important that they're doing 50 of them. What's more important is how they're doing them. Are they actually paying attention to what the technique is that they've been told that they should be working on from their coaches? And are they working on practicing perfecting that for them? So doing the skill with correct technique is what is most important. So if they're practicing on the trampoline at home, whether it's back handsprings or back tucks or seat drops for their trampoline class, it's important that they're doing them as well as they possibly can, trying to make the corrections that the coaches have given them in their practices. We stress in practices all the time that when we're doing across the floor, we're doing drills and skills, all of the coaches at Panthers stress over and over again with all of the athletes that it's not how many they do. It's not that if I ask an athlete to go and do work on their back walkovers, I don't care that they did 10 back walkovers. I would much rather see that they did 3 back walkovers with their arms up nice and tight, with their arms squeezing their ears, their straight arms, their straight legs, and taking the time to think through and focus, powerful word of the month, focusing on making sure that that technique is exactly where it needs to be. And so we have to remember that learning a skill correctly takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes persistence. They can't be, it's not just effort, it's not just that they did the skill. We want to make sure that they're learning the skill correctly from the very beginning. And sometimes that means that it takes a little bit longer, and that's okay if the end result is a beautiful skill that's going to lead to more skills. So that was number one. It's not how many they do, it's how well they do them. Tip number 2 that I have for you. If they're working on their fun skills at home, it's key that they remember their cues and corrections that their coaches have given them. What does that mean? Coaches will usually, when they're teaching a skill, they'll be saying short little commands of correction. We use, squeezing your ears, reaching for the sky, tight arms, for back handspring, sit, swing, jump. They'll be having cues that they should be thinking on. Those are the cues that the athletes want to be remembering when they're at home. They should be hearing in their head their coach's voice. That's what we hope. We hope that it's our voice coming through when they're working on their skills at home. That inner voice is what we're trying to train, so that in a routine they're thinking about what they need to do. And it's very important. Something that we believe deeply at Panthers is about coaching in the positive. What does that mean? That means that if you listen to the coaches and how they're coaching your children, you're going to hear the coaches say to the athletes, Susie, that was fantastic effort. I would love to see you straighten those arms as much as possible, push against the ground, rather than saying, Susie, don't bend your arms. And I hope you can hear the difference in that. It's about, Susie, squeeze your legs nice and tight when you kick over in the back walkover. It's not, Susie, you bent your legs. Susie, don't bend your legs. We don't want to talk in the negative, so it's not, don't bend your legs, don't bend your arms, don't keep your chin in. It's, Susie, you need to keep your chin up nice and tall. Susie, we need to keep your arms really straight. I'll use a boy's name. David, you need to keep your legs nice and straight when you go back. Really squeeze. Can you feel it squeezing? So we are huge proponents at Panthers, and I think that's something that makes us unique, and what makes our coaching so phenomenal here is that we really, really focus on coaching in a positive tone of voice. We want the children saying positive things in that inner voice in their head, not negative. We don't want that inner voice to be saying, oh, I can't do it. I keep bending my legs. We want the inner voice of that athlete to be a growth mindset and to be saying to themselves, okay, I just need to squeeze my legs a little bit more. I can do it. That is huge. And if you have children in other sports and you're hearing that negative talk, and that negative talk starts coming into your child's head, that's a big red alarm bell that you want to watch out for. It's really, really important that we speak to our athletes and our children's coaches speak to them in a positive way, training that inner voice, that they're kind to themselves and that they are speaking to themselves as they would speak to their friend. As a side note, that's something else in regards to mindset that we truly believe at Panthers, and that you can help at home with when you're speaking to your child in regards to what they're doing with skills or training. And that is, we always say to the athletes, lots of our coaches, when we talk about mindset, we make sure that we talk to the athletes and that they know, would you talk to your best friend that way? Like when you just finished a line and let's say it didn't go very well and you didn't go for it. If that was your friend, would you say to your friend, oh, that was terrible, you didn't go for it. How come you're so scared? No, you would never say that to your best friend. You would say to your best friend, oh, Susie, that was a really good try. I bet you can be really brave and do it next time. So we want them speaking to themselves the way they would speak to their best friend. And that's a whole other topic on another topic that I could talk to you for many, many hours about mindset. And it really is the fundamental beliefs that we have here at Panthers and how we coach our athletes. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 2 was that they have to remember those cues and corrections that their coaches are giving you, and to have a positive inner voice, and remembering what those things are that they need to be focusing on. What do they need to be doing, not what they need to be not doing. Great. Tip number 3, halfway there. If they do want to practice at home, one of the most important things that all of the athletes can do is stretch. Flexibility is one of the most important things that athletes tend to be missing. All athletes, I mean, even you and I, right? Flexibility is where we lack. We sit at desks all day. Our kids just don't stretch. When they're little, they have lots of flexibility. You know, those little tinies and minis, many of them can lift their legs behind their ears, but they're often missing flexibility in specific areas of their bodies. And so what we want them to practice is flexibility at home. You have to remember that why is flexibility so important? If they're not flexible in certain muscle areas, they're not going to be able to do the skills. I can ask them forever and ever to put their hands behind their ears, but if their shoulders are too tight, I can be asking them to do something that they're physically incapable of doing. And you can imagine how frustrating that would be to an athlete. Yeah, they're trying, but their body just physically can't put themselves in that position. And so asking them to do that is a struggle. So one of the things that they can do is really work on their flexibility at home. Shoulders are really important. Hamstrings are really important. Those things are key for learning front walkovers, back handsprings, lots of different skills on the trampoline. So the hamstrings and the thoracic spine are two areas that are universally tight on most people. So finding stretches that they can do at home that will help them in those areas is key to learning new skills. Flexibility. When you go to the blog, there's actually two videos that I put on the blog on our website. I put a stretching video and I put a strength training video. So the stretching video is about dynamic stretching. We don't need them to be holding their skills at home. Passive flexibility is one type of flexibility, and they really shouldn't be doing that unless they're really warmed up and their muscles are really hot, and then they can be stretching. But if they're cold, they should be doing some dynamic stretching at home. And that video has a really simple 10-minute little routine that most kids, I would say, ages 7 and up could perform safely if you put it on the iPad or Apple TV it to the TV so that they could see it. They could follow it, no problem. The fourth thing that we have down here is what I just alluded to, which was strength training. That is totally something that is safe for the kids to do at home. Now, if the children are 14 and under, they should not be doing any weight training. It should just be body weight training. And so the video that I've posted online is very simple. It's kids doing the videos. You got to scroll ahead about to 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, get rid of the introduction. And then there's lots of exercises like plank exercises, leg exercises, things that they can be doing to increase their strength. You have to remember that in a 2-hour cheer or a 55-minute tumbling or trampoline class, it's really difficult for the coaches to give enough time on strength training. So we do a lot of strength training in class specific to skills. So everything they're doing is about increasing strength and learning muscle memory and coordination, how to piece pieces together. But what we need them to be doing at home, which would be very, very helpful, is working on actual strength training exercises. Areas that are really weak, usually in children, if they're really flexible, sometimes they lack strength. What's most important is that their flexibility and their strength are matching. That's the golden ticket. If you can be flexible and strong, both things are needed in order to be able to be successful in learning many of the skills that the kids are trying to learn. A couple of things that are really weak in the little itty bitties, their core is usually really, really weak. They just, they stand with their belly hanging out. That's, figuring out how to build their core, their deep abdominal muscles and their back muscles, lower back muscles. Second thing that's really weak in little ones are shoulders. One of the best things that I think of why tumbling is so important in little kids is they're upside down all the time. They have way stronger shoulders and arms than the average child who's out playing soccer, playing baseball, running. Being upside down all the time really does build upper body strength, and they're the ones, it's always the gymnasts and the cheerleaders and the trampolinists who can do the monkey bars at school and who can hang upside down by their arms. So if you think of shoulder shrugs, just simple shoulder shrugs. See how many you can do before your muscles all seize up and get tight. That's an easy exercise that they can do. Even if they're older and they can do a handstand, they could do a sticky bug up against a wall and do shoulder shrugs and a handstand. that would be a safe exercise as long as they're not falling on their head. Hamstrings, the back of the leg is a notoriously weak muscle in athletes. It's just underutilized. We work our quads, but the hamstrings and the glutes just don't get enough work. So in the videos, you can be searching for videos that talk about glutes and hamstrings. That's super important. For example, if you think that you're going to get a standing back tuck without really, really strong glutes and hamstrings and abs, you can put all the effort in, you can come to every practice, you can do your drills, but if you don't have that strength, it's just not going to come. So you can imagine how frustrating, again, if we're asking athletes to do skills and they don't have the strength to do the skills. So it may not be because the athlete isn't trying really hard or doesn't understand the mechanics of the skill. They just might not be flexible enough yet or strong enough yet. And those things take time. Strength gains and flexibility gains are not overnight. They take time, commitment, and persistence. But one way to speed up that learning curve is to implement an at-home training system for them. And so that brings me to lastly, number 5. So my 5th tip for you as a parent is to really help them if they really are keen. If your child really has a goal that they're focused on, is to set a plan. How can you help them? They can put together a plan of action. They can agree with the help of you, with the help of their coach. They can put a plan of what they can clearly do at home by themselves. They can make a chart. They can add check marks. They can add stickers. It might just be stretching every night. It might just be a few planks at home. Start small, see if they can start getting that. I talked in another video, about how mentally that feels when you see the line of check marks or the line of stickers get longer and longer, and how that makes you feel and motivates you to keep going. If you need help, all the coaches at Panthers are committed to helping each and every athlete reach their potential. And so if you need any help, and this is something that you want to do with your child, you can just email in the coach, and they'll help you come up with a plan of some simple exercises. Again, persistence and commitment, consistency, key to all of this. If they're only doing it once every 3 days, they're not going to see gains. They're not going to see any increases in flexibility. And then that's frustrating as well. They think they're putting in all this time and effort, and it's really not having an effect. So it really is important that they do it every day. And so you can help your child by getting them a little journal from the dollar store, a little book where they can write it in, and then they can come and show their coaches. Their coaches can be part of the process. You can put a chart up somewhere, maybe in their bathroom or near their bed. My son sleeps in a bunk bed, and so what we did, he's really tight in the shoulders. He's really, really strong. So again, this goes to that whole thing, strength and flexibility are key. So my son has very strong shoulders and abs, but he's tight as a board, and so we put a reminder in the slats under the top of the bunk bed that said, did you stretch? And so he would remember to jump out of bed and just do his few shoulder stretches to help him get over that barrier that he had to learning new skills. And if they do put in the time, if they're consistent, persistent, and committed, they are definitely going to see gains in the gym, and they're going to feel, they're going to really see the result of working so hard. So again, to summarize, I have 5 tips for you as a parent to help. Number 1 was, it's not about how many they do, it's about how well they do it. Number 2, that positive inner voice. We want to develop that positive inner voice. So we need the parents, the coaches, and the athlete to all be talking to them in that positive way. Key number 3 was to stretch. Again, there's a flexibility video on the blog, but you can YouTube. There's tons of flexibility and strength training videos on the web. So strength training was number 4. 2 very easy, safe things that kids can do at home to improve their practice. And lastly, number 5 is a plan. Some sort of check mark, some sort of way of tracking what they're doing so they know what to do, and they can take the initiative and be the responsibility of doing the skills. Again, depending on the age of your child, it might vary for them, each of them. So I hope you found this beneficial. I think the blog has lots of great information. The videos are there for you. If you have any questions at all, please comment below, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Again, I encourage you all to click over to the blog post, watch the videos, read what I have to say, and there's a great dynamic stretching video as well as a conditioning video. So I hope you found this beneficial to you. Please post below and let me know that you did or didn't. If you like this and you want more of these kind of videos, we do post a blog every week, and every Tuesday I'm going to be coming to you live from the gym. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time when you're at the gym. Bye.